Okay, good morning class. Please switch on your videos. Everyone, please switch on your videos.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes?
Ma'am, I am in the dental clinic. Can I just attend the class without owning the?
Okay, but then the rest, you all please switch on your videos. Everyone, please switch on your videos. Okay, so today we'll discuss about another disease which is your poliomyelitis. Okay, poliomyelitis, that is also a communicable disease, means it can be transmitted from one person to the other. Now, poliomyelitis, it is caused by a virus. Okay, that virus we usually call it as the poliovirus or the RNA virus. Okay, sometimes it is called the RNA virus, and it has your 3 serotypes. Serotypes means the subtypes. Okay, serotypes, SERO, serotypes. Serotypes usually means subtypes, and it has 3 subtypes. So these are known as your serotype 1, serotype 2 and serotype 3. Okay, so these are the viruses that are responsible for causing your poliomyelitis. Now, when you say the serotypes, it means the subtypes or the different types. Okay, that have been known as your serotype 1, 2 and 3. The first serotype, that is serotype 1, that is more dangerous, okay, than the rest of the serotypes. That is serotype 1, the disease which is caused by your this virus, that is serotype 1, is more dangerous than the other two, that is other than your serotype 2 and 3. So what happens in case of poliomyelitis? It usually affects your human alimentary tract, or the you can also call it as intestinal infection. So means, if I say alimentary tract, means it is affecting your intestine. It has something to do with your digestive system. So usually the the infection, it starts in your digestive tract. Okay, and later on it affects your CNS as well. CNS means your central nervous system. So what does CNS consist of? Means what all things are included in CNS? Do you all know? CNS means central nervous system. So what forms the central nervous system? Does anyone know? Your brain and your spinal cord. Okay, the brain and the spine, these two forms your central nervous system or the CNS. So at first the infection, it starts in your alimentary tract, that is your digestive tract, and it affects your intestine, and afterwards in the later stages it affects your central nervous system, that is it starts affecting your brain as well as your spinal cord. Okay, this happens later on in the later phase of the disease. Everyone, please switch on your videos. Kindly switch on your videos. Rest. Now the reservoir of infection. The reservoir of infection is men. Means like I told you about TB, the reservoir of infection means the sources of infection were human being as well as bovine. Bovine means like your cow and all those animals like horse, cow, these were also the sources of TB. But in case of poliomyelitis, human being is the only source. Okay, human being is the only reservoir of poliomyelitis. And who do you think are more prone to get polio? Which age group? What do you think, which age group is more prone to get polio? Can you say this? You can see at the left hand corner, it is the faces of an infected person. Suppose at the left hand corner, the child that you are seeing, he is excreting there. Okay, that is the faces of that child. So after that, if he excretes that, and then through, suppose he is excreting on land, now it goes into the soil, it goes into the fluid, that is the water bodies, and then it can also be carried by your flies and also through fingers if it is not hygienic enough. Okay, then through all these routes, and then it goes, if this goes into your food, that is it was going into the field, it was also going into the water bodies. Okay, when it goes into the water bodies, so the food that we consume from the water bodies, for example the fish, as you can see here, the other boy is consuming it, so this is what you call as the fecal-oral route. Okay, or sometimes what happens is that if it goes into the fields, then the vegetables that you consume from that field, the vegetables or the fruits that you consume, if these are infected, okay, so in that cases also you can get polio. Or if this fly, okay, this fly, it gets into the feces and then again it goes into your food, and then this can be another reason for getting polio. So this is the transmission route. Okay, that is the fecal-oral route, that is from the feces of one infected child, then or any infected person, not only child, of any infected person, if that feces it is distributed into some other bodies, and if the hygiene is not maintained, then it will go into someone else through the mouth. So mouth means orally, so that is called your fecal-oral route. Clear about this fecal-oral route? Clear, or you want me to repeat this? Is it clear, or you want me to repeat this fecal-oral route? Is it clear, fecal-oral route? Yes, is it clear how the virus is transmitted from one person to the other? What is the route? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I hope it is clear to all. Okay, if not, you can ask me. So that is the transmission route. Now next is your incubation period. So the incubation period for poliovirus is usually 7 to 14 days. Okay, means that is till the time the virus enters your body and you show the signs and symptoms. So it is about 7 to 14 days, and sometimes the range is considered from about like 3 to 35 days. Okay, these are the end ranges. So who is the reservoir of infection or the host can only be men. Okay, and also like I told you about the fecal-oral route, again through the droplet also. Okay, through the oropharyngeal secretions, that is from the secretions from your mouth, so through that also one can get infected. So these are the infectious materials. Next comes your period of communicability. Period of communicability, this means that the time, okay, the time which an infectious agent may require to transmit it to another person. That is considered as like 7 to 10 days, which means like if I am having the disease, if I am having the virus, so I'll be able to transmit it within 7 to 10 days of getting the virus. So that is your period of communicability. Clear till now? Clear till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next comes your host factors. So under host factors, you have your age factor, sex differences, and risk factor. So if I say about age factor, then almost all the groups are prone to have polio. But then these children and infant, as I told you, it starts from like 18 months of age. So these children and infants, they are more prone to get the polio disease, okay, to get the infection. Next, there has been a difference in the, there has been a sex difference, okay. The ratio is 3 males used to 1 female. That is, if there are like 10 male child and 10 female child, so out of the 10, like 3 male will be affected and only 1 female will be affected. So the ratio is more in male, okay. That is, the male child are more prone to get polio than the female child, and these studies have shown that, okay, that, and the ratio is 3:1. Now next comes your risk factor. Risk factor is if one is already infected by polio, then he has higher chances of getting the second infection. Okay, now it's the opposite in some diseases. For example, in case of chicken pox, so if you have the infection once, so you have less chances of getting the infection twice. Okay, you develop the immunity within yourself. So this chickenpox infection occurring twice is very rare. But in case of polio, if you are infected by polio once, you are more prone to get the disease. Okay, your immune system, it gets weakened because whole of your immune system is affected. Because of that, the risk for getting polio that increases second time, okay, or even more in the third time. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next we have your environmental factors. So within environmental factors, we have some seasonal variations. Okay, like polio, it is more likely to occur in the rainy season. Now, why rainy season? Can anybody say why it is more to occur in the rainy season? It is more likely, okay, during the rainy season. Not that it cannot occur in other seasons, but then in the rainy season, it is more likely. Now, can you think of it why? Okay, see, because during the rainy season, usually the water it gets contaminated. Okay, means the water from the drains and the sewage, all these gets mixed up with the water in the river. Okay, and sometimes these water from the drains and everywhere, this overflows into your road and the streets. So what happens is that all this water it gets contaminated, and then as I told you, through the contaminated water also you can get polio if you are consuming food from it. So through the food and also through the flies, if the flies are going into the contaminated water, then coming back into your food, and it is so, it is more likely in case of your rainy season. And also you can see water clogging everywhere, so the sanitation and the hygiene, it is not maintained well in the rainy season or during floods. So all these contributes to polio. So that is why we say that during the rainy season, you're more likely to get poliomyelitis. Okay, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now about the mode of transmission, I already told you there are two modes, that is your fecal-oral route and the droplet infection. So through the droplet infection, it is a bit less, and through the fecal-oral route, the chances are more. Okay, but both are your modes of transmission. After that comes your prevention. So in the prevention, we have your polio vaccination. Okay. So you all remember that we take this vaccination up to like 5 years of age. So there are actually two types of vaccination. One is your oral polio vaccine and another one is your inactivated polio vaccine. So the oral polio vaccine, it is known as Sabine. Sabin, Sabine. You can note that down, okay? Oral polio vaccine. That is known as your Sabine. Sabin. And next is your inactivated polio vaccine or IPV, that we call as SALK. SALK. Okay. SALK. So this oral polio vaccine, it was first given by Sabine only. That is why it is also called as Sabine. So it was first discovered by Sabine in 1957. So as I told you, how many serotypes of the RNA virus or of the RNA polio virus? How many were the serotypes? I said no, that this virus has some subtypes. So how many subtypes were there of the polio virus? I said just 5 minutes or 10 minutes back about the subtypes. So how many subtypes? Three, okay. I said that there are three serotypes. Serotype 1, serotype 2 and serotype 3. Okay, so the polio virus or the RNA polio virus, it has three serotypes or three kinds. That is your serotype 1, serotype SERO, serotype TYPE, serotype 1, serotype 2 and serotype 3. Now, if a vaccine is being discovered, so what is the role of the vaccine? To protect you against the virus. Now, since the virus has three kinds, so this vaccine should also contain the resistance against all these three serotypes. So the polio vaccine that is given orally, that we all have taken, so that has all the three serotypes in it. Okay, that is why it is known as the trivalent vaccine. Trivalent. VALENT. Okay, valent means equal to, tri means three. So all the three serotypes that are present in this vaccine. So because of that, once you take a dose of your oral polio vaccine, so it gives you immunity against all the three types of your polio viruses. Okay, so that is your trivalent vaccine. Clear? Or you want me to repeat this? Is it clear about these serotypes and the vaccine? Is it clear? See, if you want me to repeat, I'll do that. But please understand what I am teaching. So that's why I'm asking, is it clear or shall I repeat? See, if you don't say anything, how will I understand whether you are understanding or not? You all want me to proceed or stop here? See, if you have understood, just let me know, or if not, then I'll repeat that. So, how hard is to tell that? Someone please tell me, is it clear to you all, or shall I repeat? Okay. So that's all. You have to see me, no? Otherwise, how will I know? See, I told you the polio virus, that is the RNA polio virus, it has your three kinds. Okay, serotype 1, serotype 2, and serotype 3. That is, the virus has three different types or three different categories. Okay, so now if you are developing a vaccine, so the role of the vaccine is to protect you from the virus. So now, since there are three categories of the virus, so the vaccine should also contain the properties to fight against all the three types. Okay, so this oral polio vaccine that was discovered by Sabine, it has got all the three properties. Okay, so it can help you fight against all the three serotypes of the virus. So because of that, it is known as your trivalent vaccine. Means it has one vaccine, but it has got like three works. Okay, it can fight against all the three serotypes, so it gives you immunity against all the three types. So that is why it is known as your trivalent vaccine. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next is your national immunization program. Okay, this national immunization program, it was developed by the government of India. So according to this, what they recommended was a primary course of like 3 doses of oral polio vaccine at 1 month interval. That is, after every 1 month, you will take 3 doses of polio vaccine. And then the dose is given as 3 drops to the standard dropper. Okay, given along with a vial. Which means at first only 3 doses were recommended, okay, as a primary course. That is, after 1 month you will get a dose now, okay, and one dose will contain 3 drops. So after again 1 month you will get the another dose, so again you will get 3 drops. And after that, after again 1 month, that is after the end of the third month, you will get your third dose, and in that you will again get 3 drops of the vaccine. And it was proven effective in the developed countries, but not in the poor and the developing countries like India. So we have increased the doses, and we have increased till the age of 5 years. Initially this was recommended in India, but then it was shown that it was not much helpful, so later on the dose were increased till the age of your 5 years. Now, why this did not like work in India? Okay, this, like, there were only 3 doses, but as you have seen, the dose for now we take till the age of 5 years. So why the first one, that is the low doses, did not help in India? Because not only in India but in all the developing countries there is poor hygiene. That is, the people here, they maintain the poor hygiene as compared to the developed countries such as your US and the UK. So the hygiene is poor. Next is your poor sanitation. So sanitation refers to your drinking water or also through to the disposal of your human excreta and sewage. So whatever you excrete your faces, they do not have a proper disposal system, and also the hygiene is very poor, and the water that we consume, most of the time it is not that hygienic. Okay, in some areas people do not even filter their water. Okay, they consume it raw. So in those cases what happens is that the hygiene, there is compromise with the hygiene as well as with the sanitation. And also the people here, they do not follow the vaccination schedule. So whenever they needs to go, they do not follow the proper date. Okay, they do not follow the schedule. So because of these reasons, what happened was the earlier dose that was recommended, it did not work in India, but it worked well in the developed countries. Okay, but not in the developing countries. Okay, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next we have a pulse polio immunization. So pulse polio immunization, it is nothing but it was a single day public health event that was undertaken by the government of India. Okay, pulse polio immunization, PULSE, pulse polio immunization. So it was the immunization means through vaccine only. So it was undertaken by the government of India, and what happened was the first round was on 9th December 1995, and what happened in that was they immunized, means they vaccinated about 87 million children. Okay, it was undertaken by the government of India, and then more than 87 million children were immunized, which is a huge number. So this pulse polio immunization, it is an important event that took place. So initially, this pulse polio immunization means on the first round, initially they targeted the children under your 3 years of age. Okay. But later on, what happened is that they started to increase the age till the age of 5 years. So, and it is being followed till now. So, till now, the age is up to 5 years. Okay. Clear? Pulse polio immunization? Clear? Pulse polio? Okay, next the question is polio an eradicable disease? So when I say eradicable, which means like smallpox. So smallpox is eradicated completely. So you will find no more fresh cases of smallpox. So now the next question is, can polio be eradicated? Means can it be eliminated completely? Okay, can it be removed completely? And the answer is yes. Now if I say why, the reasons are, first is man is the only host. So man is the only organism that carries the polio virus. Okay, other animals or any other being, they cannot transmit polio, they cannot get polio. Man is the only host. So since host is only one kind, so it is easier for us to eradicate the disease or to eliminate the disease completely. And second is a long-term carrier state is not known. Means the person will not carry the disease for a long period of time. Not the disease but the virus. The virus, they cannot carry it for a long period of time in their body. And even if they will have the virus, they will not have the power to transmit it to someone else. And also the half-life of the excreted virus in the feces is about like 48 hours. Which means this period, okay, when someone is excreting, so their stool or their feces, so if it is infected, so it will remain infected only till the 48 hours, only till the first 48 hours. So the virus can be transmitted only during that period, and after 48 hours it will automatically get inactivated, means the virus. So it is easy for the virus to get inactivated, it takes very less amount of time. And the next reason is why polio can be eradicated is that polio vaccine, it is easy to administer. That is, it is just a oral drop that you need to give to the child. So it is the easy vaccination process. And also the vaccination is very cheap. So and in some countries you also get it free of cost. So in the countries, in the developing countries such as your India, so all the people are not that rich. Okay, so the vaccine is also very cheap. Okay, it's not costly, and also in some countries you get it free of cost. And the pulse polio program that I told you about, in which in a single day about 87 million children were immunized, so that was a successful event. So if such events are undertaken again, so those are also considered to be successful. So in this way polio can be eradicated. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so these are some of the reasons that say that polio can be eradicated. And also the virus multiplies only in your intestine. Okay, so it cannot multiply in any other part, it can multiply only in your intestine. So these are some of the reasons. Now I told you about post polio syndrome, that is PPS. So what is post polio syndrome? So it is nothing but the residual effects. Residual means the after effects of polio. Like once the virus affects you, you get all the signs and symptoms, and then when it starts affecting your CNS, that is your central nervous system, your brain and the spinal cord. So once it affects your brain and the spinal cord, so you will also have problem with your nerve and muscle, and then this results in some residual effects. Okay, the person, he gets very weak, and then this gets worse with time. Okay, you experience pain in your muscle and joints, and you get tired very easily because it is affecting your brain. So all the functions of the brain, okay, also including the transmission of signals, all these will be affected. And this occurs at least like 15 years after the first your exposure to the virus. Okay, after your first exposure to the virus, it occurs about like 15 years later. So that's a huge time, and that is why it is known as the post polio syndrome. Means after the virus you are treated and everything has been done, or after the virus is gone from your body, even after that, these are some of the residual symptoms that you will have, because your brain was affected and also your spinal cord was affected. So because of that, later on you can develop these abilities. Can you see this picture? So this is the picture of like a post-polio syndrome. So what happens is that once you are affected by polio, it starts affecting your muscles and your nerves. So as a result, later on, and this is progressive, okay, progressive and gradual. So later on, after many years, like your contractures develop, people are not able to straighten their legs or their hands. And see, you can see that the upper side, okay, one hand is shown, one is shown as disabled hand, the other side is shown as a good one, and in the legs also one is shown as the good one, other is a disabled one. That is because just to show the difference, okay, just to show the difference, and you can see that is very clear. At first you can look into the shoulder, okay, how it has been weakened. Okay, then the muscles of your backbone and also of your chest, these are also affected. Now if you look at the muscles that help in straightening your leg, so those muscles are also affected. So people who are affected by this polio and they get this post polio syndrome, so they are not able to straighten their leg, they are not able to lift their foot. As a result, their walking pattern and everything gets affected. So this results in disability in the child. They are working with the support of their hands as well, so they are working on all fours. See, some are crawling, someone is crawling, someone is just dragging themselves, and some are severely paralyzed, they cannot even get up. And then you can see someone is walking with the help of their hand as well. So these are some example of the untreated polio patients or the post-polio syndrome. So usually the post-polio syndrome, it occurs in case of the untreated patients or the patients who were treated but not fully, who didn't receive the treatment, the whole course of the treatment. Okay. So clear about post-polio syndrome, how it can look like. That was just to give you an idea how what can lead to your post-polio syndrome. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we'll wind up with this today. So next class we'll discuss about another disease. Okay, so first we discuss about smallpox, chickenpox and tuberculosis. So these were the ones that were affecting your respiratory system. Now we are talking about poliomyelitis. Okay, so this is affecting your alimentary tract or your intestinal system. So we'll discuss one or two more diseases affecting your alimentary tract. Okay, then after that we'll go to some other system. Okay, clear? So is the CR here?
No.
Okay, so any one of you can send me the attendance. Okay, send the attendance for this class.